Hi, folks. This is Michelle Ullman. I am the CEO and company cheerleader for Clear Digital Media, and I'm super excited to be here talking with Brad Stewart. So, Brad, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Sure thing. Yeah, I'm an audiologist, and I owned a private practice for 7 years in the Dallas market and sold that practice last year. And throughout my career in private practice, one of the things that I really fell in love with was marketing. At my core, I'm less a patient care person and more a business person. And so a lot of what I thought about was like, how can I use business to make my practice operate better, create a better patient experience, differentiate our practice from the competition. And so a lot of what I've done is build that stuff for my own practice. And now that I'm no longer practicing myself, I'm helping other private practice owners and audiologists get the same types of systems set up in their businesses.
Awesome. Very cool. So, what are your thoughts on how automation in marketing impacts the patient experience?
So, yeah, I think there's a lot to unpack around automation.
Yeah.
I think at the core, the reason that it's important to think about automation is because automation allows us to scale our time, right? Time is it's a non-renewable resource. And especially as practice owners, but even as practicing audiologists, time is always a scarce resource. And so the more of our workflows that we can automate and systematize, the less manual work that we're doing and the less time that we're wasting. And so purely from an efficiency standpoint, automation makes sense. So now, like if you bring that back to the patient experience, why is automation important from a patient perspective? The thing that I experienced is before I automated my marketing, we would market in fits and spurts. So we would kind of have this roller coaster thing where the practice would be slow. So we would do marketing to bring people in, and then the marketing would bring people in. It would work. We'd get patients in our practice, but now I'm busy serving patients. And as the practice owner, I'm also the one that's in charge of our marketing. And so because I'm busy serving patients, I'm not focused on marketing, and the patient flow slows down, and then we market. And so it's this like kind of vicious cycle where we never have consistency, which is not only stressful on us as the practice owner, but it's stressful on our team. And it's unhealthy for the business. So if you can automate your marketing, you're never dropping the ball with patients. You are always in front of your people. You're always building value for your patients, and you're creating the sense of intimacy, which is counterintuitive, right? You would think that automating would make things more sterile and less intimate.
Right.
But in this case, because you can do so much more when you automate and you can be in front of your patient so much more consistently, your patient feels like they're more tied into the practice and they feel like they're more part of what's happening inside of the practice. And so I think that a lot of the misperceptions that people have about automation, that it's going to make it less personal, or that I already have, a person on my team that sends out letters or whatever. I think that once we start really digging into what automation means inside of an audiology practice, there's a lot more upsides than downsides.
That makes a ton of sense. And I really like what you said about the intimacy being created through automation, especially for a lot of audiologists who, business owners wear many hats, and oftentimes, especially audiologists who are often like yourself, owners of the clinic. And so you're providing care and you're managing the business. And a lot of times audiologists aren't naturally inclined to be marketers, and they haven't really had any kind of level of training in marketing. So you've talked in the past about 4 types of business owner marketers. Can you expand on that and describe these 4 types of owner marketers?
I can. Yeah. So I agree that I don't think most audiologists are even inclined to business owner role, much less marketing role, right? Most of us get into audiology because we want to provide patient care. We want to help people hear better. We want to change lives. And the business is just kind of this inconvenient thing that we have to deal with to make that happen, right? So what ends up happening is practices end up falling into one of these 4 buckets of marketing cultures. And if you imagine like a quadrant with 4 squares, and our scale is inconsistent marketing to consistent marketing, and then structured marketing versus unstructured marketing. And so you're going to fall somewhere on that spectrum of consistency and somewhere on that spectrum of structure.
Yeah.
Most practices, in my experience, are inconsistent, unstructured marketers. Meaning that, and this is where I used to be, this was the pain that I lived in, that I knew that I needed a market. So I needed to come up with something, which might be, calling a vendor and saying, hey, we need to put together a piece. It might be reaching out to a digital marketing agency and saying, what can we do to update our website? But it was unstructured and it was inconsistent. And ultimately that leads to stress and it leads to burnout.
Yeah.
I think kind of the least common type of practice is one that's very structured but inconsistent, because if you're very structured, typically that means that you've automated a lot of your systems, and so you are consistent. But if you have this plan, you know what you're supposed to be doing, but you're inconsistent at executing, you're going to start to feel this sense of defeat. You're going to start to feel like, if you keep failing to execute on your plan, you're going to start to lose confidence in yourself. And so I definitely do think that there are people that are good planners, poor executors. And so they have this grand plan and they don't follow through on it. The third type is consistently marketing, but in an unstructured way. So you're really on top of it. You know you need to do it and you are doing it, but every single time you market, you're making it up as you go. Right? Which again, where is that going to lead us? It's going to lead us to burnout. It's going to lead us to hating doing marketing, because it's taking so much time and energy, because every time I do it, I'm reinventing the wheel. Now, where we want to be is we want to be structured and we want to be consistent. If you're structured, if you've automated things, if you've got a marketing plan and then you're executing on it consistently, you have peace of mind, you have consistent patient flow, you just have ease. Your marketing just feels easy and effortless. And that's where we ultimately want to be.
Yeah. Boy, I land in there somewhere for sure. Sounds kind of like organizing your closet. It's hard work sometimes when it's gotten out of control. And then when you go and do it, it feels so good and you're so much more efficient in just getting ready.
Totally.
So it sounds like automating is a great way to manage this critically important yet often challenging aspect of our business. Yeah. What are the top 3 challenges in automating marketing, do you think?
So, the keys, the problems that people run into are, first off, as audiologists, we tend to be, so if we're thinking about like written marketing, as audiologists, we tend to be good technical writers. We can write a mean report, right? We can really clearly express medically what's happening to a person. Maybe not such good marketing copywriters. And copywriting is this idea of using written language to move people to action.
Right.
And professional marketers are like, copywriting is a cornerstone skill for professional marketers. If you can't write compelling, engaging, interesting messages that lead to a call to action that actually creates action, you can market all day and it's not going to work.
Yeah.
The second key is that if we're inconsistent, then we're not going to market at the right time. So we have to have the right message. The second thing is we have to time our messages correctly based on where a patient is in their life cycle. And so if we send a message about a new product that's coming out and we want somebody to come in and test it, but we send it to somebody that bought their hearing aids 4 months ago, that's going to be off-putting. Versus if we send that same message to somebody that has 3.5-year-old hearing aids, that's going to feel relevant. It's going to feel meaningful. It's going to feel like that I'm actually providing them a service by informing them of this new product, right? So timing is critical. And again, like inside of marketing, you can create that timing and make it happen automatically versus if you're manually marketing, it's going to be hard to consistently send the right message at the right time to every single one of the thousands of people in your database.
Right.
And then finally is, I think a lot of audiologists are challenged by the medium that they market with. How do I do a direct mail piece? Do I do a newspaper ad? Do I do a Facebook ad? Do I do Google pay-per-click? And people get really bogged down in the medium and they're uncertain where those messages need to be. And so if you're trying to automate your marketing and you don't know where you need to send those marketing messages, you're going to end up wasting a lot of money because a lot of the mediums that we use are paid. And so if you're using the wrong medium to deliver a good message, but the medium's wrong, so it's not getting to the right people, you're spending money and it's wasted.
Yeah.
Right. So I think those three things, it's the message, it's what we say, it's when we say it, and it's where we say it.
Yeah.
And if we can nail those three things with automation, then we have a really good system. But I think that most people, when we try to do this ourselves, we end up screwing up at least one of the three, if not multiple or all of them.
Yeah, it makes so much sense, and it's like, again, I'm going to use another analogy like dieting. It's a simple formula, but it's so challenging. So it's simple, but it's hard.
Yeah.
So how would you suggest in that situation where it's what, when, and where, how do you overcome these challenges?
Yeah. I mean, so what I've done is because I actually don't think audiologists should be doing this themselves. And one of the pain points for me as a private practice owner is, as somebody who was a private practice owner that was also really into marketing and really knew what best practice marketing looked like, I couldn't find vendors that knew how to be best practice marketers.
Yeah.
Like my standards were too high for the marketing that I wanted. And so I just ended up doing it myself, but I don't think most people should do that.
Right.
And so I think that you should find something that's already made that you can install into your practice that is proven to work, and you don't have to build it yourself because you're not qualified, right? I mean, you are an excellent audiologist, but you're not a professional marketer, right? So essentially what I've done is I've taken all of the marketing systems that I had built over the years, and I'd used different pieces of software and technology and stuff. I was using Counselor when I owned my private practice. And in 2020, Counselor released a marketing automation system that was integrated into the office management software. Blueprint actually has a really similar system. And basically the way these systems work is you create marketing, whether it's emails or direct mail pieces. You identify a trigger that causes that marketing message to go out. So a trigger might be, for example, like in Counselor, if you say, I fit somebody with hearing aids on January 1st, and then 3 months later, we want a check-in message to go out, right? We want to tell them, don't forget to change your wax guards, right? That might be, actually have an email in my system that's 3 months post-fit. It's like the most common reason hearing aids fail. So it's a compelling message. They open up the email and it's talking about changing your wax guards, because as we all know, wax guards are the culprit behind a lot of service appointments. But what we're doing there is we are using a trigger inside of the system to send a message that we know is relevant for the time that patient is in their life cycle. And so I've built this entire system with emails and with direct mail that are complementing each other, so that for your current patients, for your prospective patients, and for your tested, not treated prospects, they're all getting messaging consistently over multiple years just by the nature of being inside of your office management software.
Very cool. And I think being able to reach effectively tested, not treated is probably just a gold mine sitting there waiting to be tapped into. So it sounds like you have really addressed all those pain points for audiologists that are business owners, and it's okay for them not to be professional marketers. That's not what they got into this to be. They got into it to be great care providers. So it sounds like really cool solutions. If someone wanted to get more information, where would they go?
Yeah. This is a program. So basically I've built this, this system that now integrates with Blueprint and with Counselor. And I've upgraded it over time. So I launched it in 2020, and over the next 2 years, of course, we went through COVID. And so the world changed and the way that we communicated with people changed. And so email and direct mail pieces became a lot more relevant.
Mhm.
And so I've tweaked the messaging and updated it. And now we're on automation 2.0. And so I have a website. It's email automation, but it's AUD automation,
Clever.
emailautomation.com. Thank you. And so if somebody gets this system, and it's a one time, you purchase it once and you have access to it in your office management software forever. So it's a one-time purchase. And this is one of the pain points that a lot of the marketing vendors that I came across, for me as a private practice owner, it was very expensive because it was generally recurring. Every month I'm paying $1,500, $2,500 to run these marketing automation systems. This system, you buy it once, you have it forever. You go to that website, and if you purchase the program, your office management system provider will be notified. All of the, I have, I think, over 35 email messages between current patients, prospects, and tested not treated, and then 30, close to 40 actually direct mail pieces that correspond and complement those. You get access to all those, and they're all customizable inside of your office management system. And I really think that even if you went in and you changed some of the content of my emails, which I would suggest not messing with too much, but even if you did, you're starting at the finish line. Like anything you add on is just like icing on the cake. So if you want to customize your direct mail pieces, if you want to change some of the language in the emails, you can do that, but you're not having to start from scratch, because everybody that I talk to that wants to automate their marketing, it always sits on that nice to have list, and it never moves on to the priority list because it's so overwhelming. Right.
That's awesome. That's really cool that it's a one-time charge and that you have access forever. That's really unique. And that sounds like a really ideal solution for so many clinic owners, marketers that don't know where to start. So very exciting stuff. Well, thanks, Brad. Appreciate your time. And that is awesome insight for audiology business owners looking to improve the patient experience.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If anybody has any questions, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn, so feel free to reach out and shoot me a message. I'm happy to chat. And if you join the program, I know you're going to love it, and it's going to make a huge difference in your practice. Thank you, Michelle. And
thank you, Brad. All right.
Take care.